You smell curry.
You got potty roll? Did you guys go on a run?
Irie did.
Oh, okay. No, well, I
You
didn't
smell
mean
curry.
Yeah, that's what it smells like.
No, it's not curry.
Oh my gosh.
Go look and see.
Oh, you got a pot. Oh, that's a rope. Or is it oxtails? You just pulled out the old school pan.
What do you think it is?
A lasagna?
It's like 7 layers deep.
Yes! Hi, Ivy! Where's Ron?
The killing artists in the streets, Alamo knows no chic. We gave them some resistance, and then they took the boys. These children born in paradise, but raised in holy hell. And now they're running for the ocean. Pretty boy rock to the 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 pretty boy rock. And find your way, find your way. I think you can find your way. Yes you will find your way. No, you've been wandering. No, you've been searching, but find your way. Been out here so long, and it's so cold, but find your way. Find your way. Hey, we about to get it. It's the rhetorical sake.
Welcome to Earth.
Look, I know this might not be the most popular thing to say in these current times. This might be rather controversial. But you guys know, you guys, gals, thems and theys, you know that I really don't hold back on my own podcast. That's something I'm not going to do. But don't tell my roommate, my auntie, because earlier this week, don't say nothing now. Earlier this week, I think she mentioned, or maybe last week, like she wanted to make lasagna. And I'm like, are you out of your mind? Why would we buy all the ingredients and make the lasagna from scratch when we could just buy that Trader Joe's family style meat lasagna? That thing has got me many a Christmases, Christmas Eves, New Year's, Thanksgivings. Sometimes, you know, you got to do a couple alone before you really realize, all right, maybe I should go hang out with my family. Maybe it's worth the time, you know, and it is. It's definitely valuable. So if you are having squabbles or anything, or with the holidays coming up, mental issues, and life is precious, life is short, and I'm making lasagna from scratch. I've done it before and it came out magnifique, like mamma mia, bon appetito. I'm making it in a crock pot. If you've never made lasagna in a crock pot, it's one of the most delicious ways, and I think it's probably the manliest way to make. Okay, this is terrible. I just had the American Man episode, and here I am spewing toxic masculinity. It's ingrained in me. But it's not just like 2 or 3 little thin layers, like this little 4-inch cake. Like, this is like a hot pie Like it's like a birthday cake. It's like a tier of a wedding cake at a I'm not going to name a particular race, or type of people, but one of those really decked out weddings where the cake is taller and is about as big as the bride's, the bell of her dress. I know what that's called. It's called a bell. Yeah, boy. So yeah, I'm making lasagna. Zeta came through. I haven't seen a hurricane in a while though. I think it was pretty tame, but whoo, my lord, she left some destruction, or he. I don't know what Zeta identifies as, because Zeta rocked me. Zeta rocked me a little bit. I couldn't really go to sleep like all the way, and I was dying to go to sleep. And I would get like an hour after hour. I'm like, why am I just like up? Like I'm closing my eyes and I'm waking up every hour. But I realized today it was probably my body telling me, hey, fool, don't pass out and go into the fourth cycle of REM sleep and not be able to wake up should there be an emergency. So I think the screws and bolts, the nuts, the gears in my head are kind of, they're functioning. It's doing all right. So we're hanging in there. It's been quite a journey. It's been quite a month, as you all know. It's glad getting better. Everybody, we're getting along, and we have to. But this is not a political show, as you all know. I don't think I've ever gone down that path. And my best friend, when I was probably 5-6 years ago, I brought up the idea of a podcast co-hosted. And we were like, well, what would we talk about? And I was like, politics. And he's like, I'm not talking about politics. And it makes sense. I mean, there's so much of that. It's just not my thing. That's not my heart song. So I got to find out the little boy's name. That was on, he had muscular dystrophy on Oprah. He wrote all these books, and he was talking about your heart song and following that path. So, that's what I've been trying to align with, and you guys have seen. Gosh darn it, I don't want to keep saying you guys. I don't like that. You all have seen it grow, and you keep coming back, so I really appreciate it. I voted. Yep, I'm not going to tell you for who, but where I voted, Fox News was waiting for me outside of the facilities, and they asked to interview me. So I don't know if it aired. I tried to play a little screen of the live news later yesterday while I was on some Zoom meetings, but I didn't see myself. There was way more tragic things going on in the world than my little segment. So shout out to Courtney Bryant. Oh, and shout out to my cooking Instagram. It's called One Man with One Pan, and one is the numeral 1, because that's how I started the handle. I mean, we're not even going to get into the culinary history of my life. However, one pan, one hot plate, and I love making these like radical dishes like menudo with mussels and I don't know, all types of crazy stuff. So Zeta knocked down a big old tree down the street, and I mean, it was like, if it was on the same side of the street, it'd be like 4 houses down. It's huge. I'll try to post photos on the website. Oh, I will. I got to get used to doing that. erhunter.live. But yeah, a big tree, and I realized, because I left out early today, had to get my license, had to go to the DMV, Department of Motor Vehicles, and I realized that that tree wasn't down when I left. And so it fell in the street. Now, I'm thankful it fell in the street. It was early in the morning. It fell on top of 2 cars and like across the span of this street, which could be like a 4-lane road because it's got parallel parking. Thank goodness it didn't land on the house. But thank goodness it didn't land on anyone that was passing by either. I mean, just that moment, give way. Gust of wind. and boom. So regardless, you know, if people are shooting up or ODing or drinking themselves to death, a tree could fall on you any day. So that's what I'm here to do. I was wondering what I should be delivering, though. I've been feeling rather lost and empty and going through the stages of grief, mourning, missing, trying to cope without my best friend, Alex Miotti, Coach Miotti. You guys probably know him pretty well by now. That cheers. I know he's watching out for me, and I got a guardian angel. So I'm running this morning after the DMV. I was the first one in the DMV, by the way. It was like, boom. It was a miracle. That was probably the best thing in 2020 that's happened to me. That's it was pretty darn cool. That'd be cool if you did. I got to work on that. But yeah, and I be trying to run like Tom Cruise, because Tom Cruise has a running sequence in all of his action films. I don't know if he does any other films anymore, but he there's a mashup. I'll link it in the show notes. I found it on Reddit, and they're showing every scene of the movies where he's running, and it's the same run. But when I'm like feeling tired and weak, I need to get in the zone. It's like run like Tom Cruise, brother. And so I'm asking my God, my God, my higher power, I hope you find yours. Or if you don't, I hope you are happy and comfortable and loving with wherever you're at in your journey on this earth. So I don't judge. I just sat in on a meeting with a bunch of secular people that don't believe in God or anything like that, and I think that is the best exposure. It kind of blew my mind because I saw things from another angle. I'm glad I did it, and I'm gonna keep doing it. And wasn't that what Jesus was about? Was not isolating and building up one set structure and rules. It's like, I'm the key. Like, just be nice to each other. Do them how I did you. Help each other out. Heal each other, all this stuff. Ooh, that dog scared me. He came out of nowhere. So I'm running, trying to get 3 miles because that's where I'm at. There's a lot of hills around here, so I ain't beating myself up on distance. And I'm asking, like, what am I supposed to talk about now? American Man, like, that laid on my heart. It's like when I write a song, I don't feel like I wrote it. I feel like it was given to me to produce, to present. And it was just kind of quiet for the first half of the run. I was listening to a podcast or two. Y'all know how I do. And then it came to me that had I was just thinking about where I've been this year, and if I could start with like the getting evicted at the beginning of a year where you just spent Christmas and New Year's and then you're like forced out, it sucks. But I'm like, why? Like, how? And then you start cycling and you're running, but it just started kind of coming to me. I mean, that run kind of sucked too. I won't lie. I felt like I leave room, or I imagine Miotti running. He's like a spirit or an angel, like running with me there. It's like he's there though. Like that was our ambition too. That was a goal of ours to like run on Venice Beach. I was like, dude, I want to run with no shirt on, with my dog, our dogs, on Venice Beach. I want you to be there. That'll be the moment where it'll be a moment. Because I struggle with that, what is it called? Self-dysmorphia. This dog. I just had to evict the darn dog. It's that time of day. He starts barking at everything. It's all gravy. So, and if you hear some chainsaws in the background and all this commotion outside, it's because they're chopping down that tree that was blocking the street all day. But yeah, I just didn't see the eviction coming. And I was like, there's a lot of stuff in life I didn't see coming. When I was 12 years old, it was around November, my mom took me Christmas shopping. Shout out to the DMV, Nova, Potomac Mills. I was shopping there when there was a Vans skate park, before there was an IKEA. Well, the IKEA is not where Vans is, but there was a skate park at the mall. It was awesome. And they sold shoes, and it was rad. It was like a huge warehouse at the end of the mall. Well, I get sent out to put some clothes in the car, clothes freshly bought for yours truly. And on my way back, I look right, I look left, I look right again, and I start to cross the street. Starts to rain, so I had actually put on a nice fluffy jacket I just got from Old Navy. I was an Old Navy baby all day long. And next thing I know, I'm blinking, just blinking, and everything starts to slow down. And at this point, I knew something was happening. Something was wrong because there's a light coming towards the left side of my face. And I end up rolling over the hood of the car. It hits me, it strikes me so hard that it flips me over its hood. It's going 35 miles per hour in front of the food court and Vans skate park in a parking lot during holiday shopping. And there was a car illegally parked. So when I looked left, I didn't see, due to his speed from where he was at. It's like a whole physics thing. I couldn't see past that car. That car actually wasn't supposed to be parked there, and there's a reason why. Because if somebody's coming that way, it's a blind spot. Well, I landed on the other side, and I just rolled with it. You know, it's not like I saw it coming. And it was the same thing with getting rear-ended or any car accident I've been in, but, well, not any car accident I've been in, but in 2018 when I left an anonymous group meeting and got hit by a drunk driver like 5 minutes later in daylight, broad daylight. And I just didn't see him coming. And it was just goosh, like one of those car insurance commercials where the glass is flying. I had no idea like any of these accidents were going to occur. And had I known, I would have autonomically braced for impact. And by autonomic, I mean it would have been an involuntary response that my body, fight or flight, protection, it's fear, it's innate. It's that cerebral, the ubdula oblongata. I don't know which part of the brain, but it's going down the stem of your brain where it is connected to your nervous system. So it's a reaction, and sometimes those are autonomic, not just automatic. And one thing I know from being a first responder lifeguard, but I mean, I was a first responder in a way at the pools and the lake. I was, dude. I've saved some lives. I saved a kid's life before. That was scary. But bracing for impact in a collision is actually sometimes more detrimental than actually just not knowing, than being limp, being unaware. Because when you do brace for impact, you often might throw up an arm and tense up and stiffen and straighten your legs. Well, if you're about to crash into a wall, your legs might, break, go through the dashboard, something like that. Or the airbag goes off and ends up breaking your arm, and the bone goes into your face. Like, it can make things a lot more complicated. So there's a benefit to not bracing for impact, to being limp when the collision happens, to being unaware of the danger, the collision, the impact that's about to maybe change your life forever. And so bracing for impact, it causes more damage to the human body. I mean, especially in like vehicular crashes, but it's that impact of the like unexpected loss. So regardless of like car accidents, it's like there was no way I anticipated my best bud, my friend I text almost constantly, I won't say constantly, consistently on a daily basis, my coach, like Miyoti. There was no way I was bracing for the impact of his death. That's why it's so devastating. He's young. He was young. We're young. And he was healthy. He looked like life. Like, he looked like he had a lot of life. And it showed in not only his physique, but in his demeanor. And so it was rattling. And imagine we knew like we were going to fail. We were going to lose someone, or like fail a final, lose our best friend to a drug overdose, lose a parent or anyone dear to us unexpectedly. We really wouldn't be ourselves leading up to that date, leading up to that time, leading up to that moment if we knew it was coming. We might not be where we actually have the best chance of surviving or serving our purpose in this form, in this life. So when I was in Palm Springs and the building I've been living in for 11 months and I'm on a 12-month lease, without any indication to that I needed to vacate, or my lease was not being renewed, which was illegal, the building gets sold. And y'all, I'm not going to go into major detail. I'm going to save this for a whole episode because the saga is ongoing. But the building got sold. We weren't made aware of it, the tenants. And, a lot of people just, oh, okay, well, I'll just go move somewhere else. Well, I just moved to this city. I have a job. I have a dog. I'm black and I'm young. I have college debt. You don't mess with people like that. And I've been asking you every 2 weeks, every time I see you, every month, throughout the year, do I need to be concerned about moving when my lease is up? Oh no, this is your home. This is your home. BS. They took that money and ran. And the new owner did not care for me. And by the time they were trying to do a final inspection, the original owner, the new owner, nobody liked me because I was standing up for myself. Some of y'all might have heard an episode. I took it down. It's just, oh my goodness, pushed out where first of all, I was drinking. Second of all, I'm like sobbing, crying like a baby, like a baby who's someone just snatched a bottle out of his mouth. There's not a lot of things I get embarrassed about. Like, I've done some crazy stuff on stage in front of all my peers. So I'm not embarrassed about it. It's just not necessary. I don't think it's benefiting anybody. It's not in my soul. No. If my heart song, if my God tells me, hey, let it go, I will. But I think I'm going to keep something to myself sometimes. You got to get it while it's hot. That's why you got to listen to the episodes when they drop. But I took it down. But I was really in pain that day in March, when March 13th, rolling into the 14th, I had to go. And it's not that I got an actual eviction on my record or anything, because I exhausted myself. I exhausted every resource in the counties, in the local governments to get representation. And I got an attorney. But they had, how did they say? Two wrongs don't make a right. I know I did not handle that situation in what I thought was the best way, because I did not see that coming. I didn't see the discrimination. I didn't see the lack of humanity. I didn't see the decency. I didn't think that people were actually, that smiled in your face when you paid rent to them on time every month, deposits and whatnot, bills, without hesitation. It was a shock, and it was an insufferable loss, because I felt as a man that was my independence. I have this dog who's like my son, and my child. Well, I hope my children are a little bit more intellectual and communicative, but that was tough. Did not know how well I was going to get through it. So I handled it how I did. I didn't see it coming. And there's this like all too familiar sense of failure that came with it. It was a domino effect. In all honesty, the only thing I can equate it with was absolute heartbreak. Like, I had not felt that devastated since I fell in love. And, that's how love is. What's Carrie Hilson song, Kanye West, Love Knocks You Down? That was the jam when I was in Italy. And I go to Italy And I finally 100% realize I'm sexually attracted to men, emotionally attracted to men, and there's a man here that has ignited that. But it was not reciprocated. It wasn't reciprocal. I mean, it was special, but I'm not even going to lie. Like, it didn't take off like that. So I was devastated. You feel like a failure. You feel disgusting. You feel outcast. You're not enough. But you are. You don't see it coming that maybe that person doesn't feel the same way, or that landlord is shiesty, whatever. So this cycle of failing, it's so familiar sometimes, and I see why people just throw in the towel and keep drinking and keep partying, and we go to bars and we get stupid and do drugs in the bathroom to fill these moments of emptiness and loneliness and failure with moments that are fleeting but temporary bliss, temporary. I'm enough. I feel enough. I feel all right. I'm out of my head. I'm not thinking about that anymore. I can help others by making them laugh at me or putting a smile on their face. They're putting a smile on mine. So I can't knock it because I've been there. And like, even with this podcast, I'm comparing myself to others. I catch myself doing that. Like, and I'm like, well, I started my podcast before they did. Like, why are they getting magazine interviews? Like, what about me? Like, haven't you guys seen me? Like, well, I that's a typical no, dude, like, it's so unhealthy. And so I'm glad I'm growing and catching myself comparing myself to others, but especially with my art, with this form, because it has launched me into a new awareness of myself, a new understanding of my persons, and it causes a lot of introspection. So I'm grateful for that, and I cannot allow myself to feel inept because my podcast is not like someone else's or as successful monetarily or fame-wise or popularity as popular. Like, I can tell myself I should be further along. I should clean it up, or I should just cancel the whole thing. I should change it or just not do it at all. And it can seem like this endless cycle of highs where you release a show, you release a new episode, and you get great feedback for a moment. But then these devastating low points where I'm not making any money on this. Like, I'm not flipping a profit. And I'm homeless. And now I'm couch surfing. And now me and my dog are homeless. And I don't know how I'm going to pay my bills. And there's a pandemic, so now I'm not getting high. Like, it can overwhelm you. It can seem like you're being consumed or drowning. I love the way this girl on the new HBO show, Grand Army, not HBO, forgive me, Netflix, Grand Army, she cries to her mom and she says, I'm drowning. Joey, just such a great gal, riveting. I predicted Regina King's Emmy win for 7 seconds, so I'm going to call it now. Joey is definitely getting that Emmy for Grand Army on Netflix. Check it out. It's pretty. I like it. So in hindsight, with everything that's gone wrong in life, with everything that's so upsetting, and it's like, how could I have fumbled? Well, I didn't see the pass getting thrown to me. I wasn't ready to catch it. I would have braced for impact. I would have prepared more. I would have secured myself. I would have buckled the seatbelt into the car of security, and the seatbelt of life, the seatbelt of self-control and discipline, or whatever is vexing you. But for me, I know poor coping mechanisms, isolation, unhealthy eating habits, and just bad life decisions, some PDLs, poor PLDs, poor life decisions. We used to say that in middle school or something. And in hindsight, I like getting older because you get to gain hindsight. That's what I do appreciate about aging. Sometimes I could see what God did. I can see how the universe played into my hand, even though at the time of impact, during the collision, when my face was skidding across the asphalt and ripping the insides of my mouth open, which has happened, and I don't have feeling on the lower half of my lower lip, which actually offers a crazy sensation when I'm kissing now, which I don't mind. I don't mind it at all. But there's a huge scar on the inside of my mouth where there was asphalt. I mean, it was about a couple of weeks after I got out the hospital. So I was in the hospital for 10 days. These rocks, these black rocks would just start pushing their way out of my mouth. I was just spitting out rocks. Like I was driving around Venice Beach going to get a haircut, and my face is all skidded up. We were on Lincoln Boulevard. My mom came to town, and I'm like, what is going on? And these black rocks were pushing their way out of my mouth. They were so deeply ingrained. And in hindsight, yeah, of course I would have never pumped the brakes going downhill on PCH, over. And so my front brake locked up and I landed on my face and skid. Now, I don't really see what God did there, but when it comes to being wrongfully evicted in Palm Springs or being discriminated against and forced out of my residence and having my life threatened and having them attempt to take my life by dismantling the wheel on my car, I know who you are, and I know you did it. I see what God did, though. It all accumulated, this peak, this moment. It was a peak, but it felt so low. It felt so low to walk away. I left so much stuff behind, too. I just could not fit it in my car. Okay. Even though I didn't want to move. I didn't want to lose my job after I had a heart attack. I did not even want to have a heart attack. I see now that it was all for the better. Getting out of Palm Springs, getting out of this renovated 8-unit motel right before the pandemic, right before the shutdown, was the best thing that ever happened to me. Because if I really considering how this year has gone, how it's drug on, being alone in that building by myself during all this, I don't know if I'd be here. I don't know if I'd be here living to tell about it. I think I would have gone crazy. I would have driven myself crazy. The isolation, the loneliness. I was the only one that stood my ground for months. I stayed in that building until random people started being given the key to the front gate, or the lug nuts on my car started to go missing. And even then, I stayed and I fought through it, but it caused me to become shifty at a new job I got. It caused me to look unstable, and mentally and emotionally and even physically, it was tearing me up to the point where I had a heart attack. And they're like, okay, well, maybe we'll just figure out how to let you work from home, which was a soft way of saying you need to find another job, like you're fired, because there is no stay-at-home work for what they were doing. And, well, there was, and I did it, and I don't know, it took a while to get paid. Who knows? Had to fight for that one, too. In hindsight, getting out of there, getting pushed out, and what they say in the church is like, what the devil meant for bad, God can turn to good. It was the best thing. It was absolutely necessary, because I'm glad I didn't see coronavirus coming. I'm glad I didn't see this shutdown coming. I'm glad I didn't see quarantine coming. I'm glad I didn't see the race wars coming. I'm glad I didn't see it all coming. I didn't see 2020 coming. I didn't see life flipping its script. I didn't see my best friend's death coming. I didn't see the financial instability. I didn't see the pain that I'm seeing others go through. I didn't see it coming. And if I did, can you imagine if you knew what this year entailed? How horrifying, how terrifying, how paralyzing that would be. I'm so grateful at this point that I didn't see it all coming, because it was all for the better. I didn't brace myself. I didn't tense up. I did what the lower self me would do. And now that's what this show and these messages are about. These concepts, these ideas, just me relating and sharing my opinion, because it's just me. You know, it's nothing against anybody, and I'd love to hear others. But it's a stark realization. It's humbling. And it's just further, I don't find it coincidence. Like, that's how I know there's a higher power, there's God, there is a spirit of the universe, a creator. There's some type of mastermind working, because out of all the pain, out of everything I lost, everything kind of just fell into place. Being able to be there for other people, being able to travel the whole country before there were riots and National Guards and just terrible, terrible acts of racism and blatant murder in the streets. It can be daunting. So I'm grateful I didn't see it coming, because I probably would have reacted and overreacted or died and shut down. I had a heart attack, like devastating, massive cardiac arrest, rather than just an infarction. And then in hindsight, it's a double-edged sword, though, because I still don't know what God... There are things I don't know. I'm like, God, what did you do there? Like, why? And that is why coming of age and coming to those realizations, or maybe not finding out till we're on the other side, because I don't know. I still don't know why rocks were being thrown at me when I walked home from school in high school. I don't know why, other black men would do that to me, knowing I'm outnumbered, knowing I'm by myself, and try to provoke me and call me a faggot and call me gay and bully me. I don't know. I still don't know what that was for, to toughen up my skin or to remind me I'm queer. And that there are people doing that today to others. I mean, there are people... I got attacked on the street by a homeless man, and when the cops asked him why he hit me, he said because he's gay. He said because he's gay. And I was in shock. Like, I didn't beat that guy's ass, and I'm going to say ass because it's in the Bible. My mother wants me to stop cursing on this show. I didn't dust the street with his ass, which is what I said. I had 2 Reuben sandwiches in my hand. I was so excited to eat, and I'm minding my own business, and all of a sudden I'm getting hit across my back, and I'm like, dude, that's assault. Like, you can't just hit me, of all people, but anybody. And so I'm trying to figure out, like, I still don't know what God did there sometimes. When I was a kid, I got into a terrible car accident, very traumatic experience with a few members of my family. And it wasn't just a regular car accident. It was very slow. Not like, oh, everything slowed down like when I got hit by a car as a pedestrian when I was older. But this was like actually a long time accident. Like, we knew it was impending when we knew we were trying to brace for impact as best we could. And it seems like the older you get, the older you brace, the more you brace. The older you get, the more mature you get, the more experience you have, the harder you tense. As a kid, I almost died. I almost died because I was so naive, inexperienced. I didn't know how to brace for impact, for a collision. My dad, the man that raised me, his best friend getting brutally murdered. My uncle, adopted uncle. They're not. This is my dad. He's not my biological father. But his best friend was murdered, and they made his sons. These guys that played little league coach, my little league coach. They made his sons come look at their dad like that, dying. And so I had to transition and leave what I had come to know so well and go live with family in another state. And so sometimes I'm like, I still don't know. I don't know what the universe, what God, what it all meant for that to happen. The thing is, when I still don't know what God did there, that's totally okay. Because sometimes I'm really not supposed to know. And that really weighs heavily on acceptance. And that has been something, I think, with my coping mechanisms, where there are things I don't want to accept. Of course I don't want to accept an unexpected death of someone close. Of course I don't want to expect an eviction. Of course I don't want to anticipate that the worst is going to happen. But you have to. You have to. So that if it does blindside you, if you don't see it coming, you got some bumpers on the lane. You can bounce off of something. But when you're young, you're in your 20s, you just turned 30, you're trying to grow up real quick, Now it's time to start getting serious. And it's because 20s are, the roaring 20s, baby. But it's okay that I didn't know, and I still don't know sometimes what's all going on because I'm not supposed to know. But it's like I'm not sure why writing has always come easy to me. I'm not sure why that has been a gift, where I'm able to write and publish and edit my own books. I'm not sure why public speaking has never really been a fear. Singing when I was a kid was a fear, but reciting poetry or monologues or being an orator, debating, got me very far, and it still is apparently. I don't know why. I don't know why this podcast is blowing up. I don't know why it's growing. I'm not mad at it, and that's what I'm saying. Like these things that we really don't understand. It's easy to identify like the writing and the public speaking and the podcast. And they're often things that I do wrestle with because I get pretty vulgar in my writing. This podcast gets pretty deep. I can say some crass stuff, but I also think I let my guard down and I'm able to get vulnerable with y'all because that's what I like. That's what I relate to is people that do relate and stop putting on a front and take off the makeup, take off the mask, and actually shed some tears and let out that lurch because we all do it. We're all going to have to do it one day. Something's going to come up. But I'm glad I didn't see it coming. I have no idea why I definitely did not see. I'm sure when I came out the womb that I would be bisexual or pansexual or gay or queer because, man, it's a varying scale. I find that I'm very open when it comes to my sexuality and attraction. I have no clue. What's going on there. But it's one of those things where not knowing absolutely why things happen the way they do, it becomes a spice to life. A spice of life. It gives life some flavor. It gives it that kick. You know what I mean? That kick. You ever put some cinnamon? I can't even tell you my secrets. That's another book, the cookbook. And in all honesty, like, I know I've been bracing myself for impending events, impending collisions. I'm tensing up in different ways, not just physically, but certain ways. And y'all have heard me say on this show, and that's what I got to correct too. And it's been weighing on me. I say things, I talk down on myself a lot. Not just on the show, like in general. It's like what I'm thinking to myself is actually coming out because I'm vocalizing who I am. And when I say things like, I ain't no preacher, I ain't no pastor, I ain't your bishop. Oh, that might not be true. I mean, I have not gone to seminary school. I'm not claiming that title. I respect the people that do have that and have earned it in the academia. But I have a knack for motivating people. I have a knack for connecting us through stories and just relating and sharing a human experience through my speech. And don't get me wrong, I get nervous just like everyone else on stage or at the podium in class. Like, I'll tell you, as many awards I've won for public speaking, I noticed when I started taking it in college and pursuing that route to get my degree in it, my leg would shake, one of them. I don't know which one when it's going to happen, uncontrollably, like to where it looks like there's an animal in my pant leg or something. You know, those suit pants, they're kind of airy because it's like your stepdad's suit that he gave you because he can't fit it no more because he got a beer gut, and you're gonna need a couple of suits in college. You know, you joining a fraternity or whatever. You got shoulder pads, big old tie. That thing will be flapping like a sail that lost, one of the ropes on the mast. It's like, so because my leg goes crazy. I could give the speech and give the presentation, but inside, like, it's just like vibrating, and I'm like, please stop. But I know I braced for impact on many things, and especially when it comes to my sexuality, because I felt like being gay, being queer, not being straight, it defined my purpose. I felt like my sexuality actually defined my purpose. I thought being gay canceled any chance of creating a family. I thought it would be my certain death. People already, before I even came out officially, throwing rocks at me, stoning me, and like 4:00 in the afternoon. Like, sometimes I even wanted to stone myself. I wanted to kill myself over my sexuality. I'm so glad I didn't see my first kiss with a man coming. I'm so glad I didn't see the joy of seeing another gay guy marry his boyfriend. I'm so glad I didn't see it coming, because if I did, I might not have held out for it. I might not have appreciated it. And I brace myself because of what I believing in God. I notice sharing the good news, sharing the gospel, believing in Jesus Christ of Nazareth, believing that he's alive and well, beyond well, and is on his way back. Maybe not in my lifetime, but that's the plan. Yeah. And I know, like, I have grown up bracing myself. And I think that more so, like, that just means like being insecure, expecting to be hated. Like, here come the haters. Yeah, I know I'm going to church on Sunday. Like, bring on the haters. Like, talk about me. It's like, what a petty attitude. It kind of disenfranchises the whole theme of the action, the whole means of, what is it? An ends to a mean? I don't know. But it's petty. And I was being petty in my head and giving other people power, letting them rent space in my head. And I'm glad I definitely didn't see, like, the concept of attraction over promotion come into my life. And that came into my life from the rooms of AA. I'm not going to lie. And it's all about attraction over promotion. And some people are attracted to the Navy rather than the Marines. Some folks are Army rather than the Air Force, vice versa. And y'all military guys, my vets, my active duty, guys on reserve, y'all have a field day with that one, because I know they're like, oh, you think a Navy guy's gonna be attracted to the Marines? Like, sorry, I don't know why I put on that accent, but. And people are attracted to this podcast, and that's what's so evident to me. I didn't see it coming, and I'm glad, because I can appreciate it. People are so attracted to this, because I'm going to tell you what, I can't afford promoting this thing on Google and Facebook and spending every day waking hour on social media. It's just happening, and I'm not going to stop it. And everyone that loves me around me, those that really care about my well-being or see my potential, Then they may not have been in my life my whole life, come and gone a few times, but we have shared moments and experiences, friends, people I've lived abroad with, professors, mentors. When those people start saying, keep podcasting, keep writing, keep going, it resonates. And then you see the numbers and the stats and people all over the world taking this in. I never saw it coming. I never saw it coming. Folks are listening because they want to. They want to break from the mundane, from the norm, from the political jibber jabber, from all the news, from all everything is so bad. Well, sometimes we find ourselves in the bad stuff. Sometimes we actually overcome. And, you know, I think about those times where I'm just like riding a bus or homeless and things like that. And I never thought, I'm like, I never would have saw this coming where I'm at now. Just being alive. Shoot. Being able to just talk and speak and taste and smell and hear. Is, let me tell y'all something. Ooh, Lord. If it weren't for the grace, because your boy has been out there. That's why you got to check out God Sent Dog, my book. I'm just going to do the plug because it ain't no fairy lovey-dovey love story. It's pretty graphic. It's pretty wild. But I'm grateful folks are attracted to this show. They're attracted to these messages, and I'm really grateful for that because I can finally stop bracing for impact. And come what may, I don't have to be on guard because I'm secure enough. I got 5-star safety rating all around me. You know what I mean? I got that seatbelt on. Them airbags are ready to go. And that's a mental game. It's a mental game. It's easy to forget that. But I think we all have that in us. And it's funny how we let ourselves play to the lower self. And the higher self is just around the corner. But it's that higher self that gets to smile. Like, that's why I'm glad I didn't see it coming, because I know I've grown. And it's been a painful year. It was a painful year. Like, I just hope that anyone that is still enduring significant loss or trauma or might be stuck in a situation, my heart goes out to you. But I want you to look forward to the day where you made it, some type of outcome, some type of way. And there's no way we could see it coming right now. But hang in there. I'm living proof.
If they don't come get us, I don't think that we're gonna make it.
Mission Control, send in the Titans, send in the drones, send in everything you got, because we need to come home.
1, 0, all engine running.
I want to thank each and every one of my listeners for tuning in once again to the Rhetorical Sake podcast. Man, I'm glad I didn't see it coming. I didn't see the tough things, the fallout coming, because it may not have landed me where I'm at today. And despite the struggle, despite the pain, despite the uncertain times that we all live in, look, I thought I lost my independence. I thought I lost my livelihood. I thought I lost my stability a week before everything all shut down. Packed up the car with the dog, hit the road, started couch surfing, ended up driving across country, and what I thought led me to tense up in the Contra kind of way where I actually just let go of everything because I couldn't control it anymore. It led me to start utilizing poor coping mechanisms, damaging my body almost beyond repair, and I braced for impact by stressing, by worrying, by spiraling into a depression and not seeking treatment, not reaching out to people, not surrounding myself with folks that would build me up until I found myself around those people. That's where I'm at now. May not be many, may not be a lot. I would rather have a few pillars in my life than a bunch of grains of sand. So if you're like me and you can count even just one blessing, one thing you're grateful for, I just gotta ask, aren't you glad you didn't see it coming? I'm excited. I'm so stoked. So stay tuned, connect with us. I'm on the gram. at The Rhetorical Sake, Twitter, Sake_podcast, Facebook, The Rhetorical Sake Podcast. Check out the book, God Sent Dog, Chasing God Alcoholically. That's my second book. Well, actually, I wrote Chasing God Alcoholically first, but I released them around the same time. In any case, I'm so grateful to be here. I want to thank you for tuning in. Subscribe, rate, review the show, share it with others, or maybe not. Keep it to yourself. It's up to you. But whatever you do, go vote. All right, I'm out. Love you guys. Bye. Ciao.